night. You had to stay till the end. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's okay, Coach. Congratulations. Okay, for our final press conference of the day. We are joined on the dais with Memphis head coach Melissa McPherson and student athletes Jasmine Herndon and Jamira Schutz. Coach, if you just want to give us an opening statement, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Well, first of all, we couldn't throw a BB in the ocean in the first half, but we were down 30-50, and we just had to change our defense. And I thought the kids did a great job of trapping and scrambling it up a little bit and disrupting their offense. Gave us a chance to get some turnovers. Obviously, outscoring them 28-12 in the fourth quarter was big. But our kids were exhausted, as I learned just now. But they played through it. And we wanted to prove that we were a better team than we've shown the last month. And I think they did that tonight.
Questions?
Wow. Jamira, as a freshman, the ball's in your hands, the fourth quarter. I mean, can you just walk us through what's going through your head in those last seconds and when you guys were really surging there and to overcome that massive deficit?
Well, in the beginning, I couldn't buy a basket. I mean, not even in the beginning of the fourth, I could not buy a basket. I was just looking to find my teammates, boxing out, rebounding, doing the little things, to help out because I just had to go to somebody else because my shots wasn't falling. But still in the end, they believed in me to shoot the last 2 threes that I made, and it was just a great feeling.
Coach, in the previous game, Temple had a big run at the end of the game and started this one in a similar fashion. Mm-hmm. How do you think your team was able to keep it together?
Well, we certainly bent fairly severely. I think it was the trapping defense. I mean, I think that's what changed the complexion of the game. It's difficult to go to a zone against Temple because they have so many shooters. And so it's difficult to do that. But we never really had to go to a half-court zone because our traps were pretty productive. Now, I thought late in the fourth quarter, I thought Butts found a way down the middle of the floor, and she got us for a couple layups. But other than that, I thought it was our defense that was really the difference, and just the ability of our guards to get traps and steals at the top of the floor.
This is for the student athletes. Just walk me through the energy at those final timeouts in the game, the last couple of minutes there. What was Coach telling you, and what was the message when you're going back onto the court? We'll start with Jasmine.
She was just telling us the game is not over. We can keep playing, keep with the energy, and just go out there and play hard.
Yes, she was like, it's either now or we're going home. I mean, it was the last couple minutes of the game. I mean, if we didn't play hard, we was going home. So it was up to us.
I think I recall one thing saying was that we were making so many good plays on defense, but there was a stretch there where we were, turning it over. I remember AJ got a rebound on the far end, and she traveled trying to get it to a guard. Jamira stepped out of bounds. There were 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 plays where we made great defensive plays, but we made a mistake on the offensive end. I'll tell you what, and I think another big difference in the game was when Asia Jones hit that 3. I mean, our bench erupted, and I think at that moment it was like, okay, we've made a good run, but now we might just win it. And I think that 3 was huge.
For everyone on the dais, have you ever been part of a game like this where, being down with a big deficit and then coming back to win? Players first.
I have.
Tell us about it, Jazz.
Yes.
Otherwise, that's all you're going to get from her.
Well, last year we was down a lot, but we came back and we went into 3 overtime for us to go to succeed to the national tournament. We won in 3 overtime.
Junior college national tournament. I can't remember. I've coached too many games. I really don't know. I can't remember.
I don't think I've been in a game like this,
I will say this, though. Every Temple game that we have played, and Mel can attest to this, every Temple game that we have played in the last 3 years has been overtime. Of course, we had the 5 overtime game, And it seems like every game we've played is overtime or has been a game like this. Great competition.
Coach, when did you sense the momentum changing? Because, a few times you got close in the second half, and then they were able to extend the lead. When did you feel like, hey, we're going to make a run?
Well, I think I felt like we were making a run during that time, that we were getting turnovers, but then making some offensive mistakes. I think Jada hitting the three and AJ hit the three. I think those were the two where I went, okay, now, because I think I called a timeout, and it was a 7-point game, I believe, after one of those threes. And that's when I tried to give them a little bit of a rest, and that's when I thought, okay, let's see if we can't make it happen. And they did.
Coach, what did you learn about Temple in the regular season? Were there any weaknesses that you saw that you could exploit?
Well, we've been prepping for Temple for 2 weeks because, of course, we played them the last game of the regular season. So I think what we learned about them was that if we didn't do exactly what our game plan called, that Aaliyah Butts was going to control the game. And in the first half of the game at our place, we did that. In the second half, we didn't, and she really controlled the game. So honestly, I just think it was more reps this week. We got a lot more reps on how we were playing our middle ball screen defense. We got a lot more reps on our rotations to find the shooters out of those ball screens. And I think our kids were just more confident in the game plan and how we were going to execute it because we got so many reps.
Any other questions? Thank you. Congratulations. And what a thrilling night for all of you.
Go Tigers.
Thank you.
Right, yeah, we'll do. What? Yes, yeah, and it's going to be easier than all he's doing is going through the record book in the media guide and the championship record book. He's not thinking. Kevin Berge. Thank you. We'll get started. We're joined on the dais by Temple head coach Tanya Cardoza and student athlete Shantae Taylor. Coach, if you just want to make a quick opening statement, and then we'll take some questions.
Congratulations to Memphis on, what a unbelievable comeback. Just felt like today's game, we talked about not carrying over or thinking just because we beat them at their place by 30 that it was going to be that type of game that they'll make adjustments. It just felt like the way we played after that first quarter, we just didn't play with any energy and effort. And looking back at our season, we definitely underachieved. And a lot of our losses were losses like we had today, where we had the game in control, and because of turnovers, because of, mental lapses that we've had, we found a way to lose games. And it's just, no one ever wants to lose a game like this, especially with this being Aaliyah's last game and everything that she's done for our program. Wanted her to go out in a different way.
Questions?
Coach, in that fourth quarter, especially as it progressed, what was their defense taking away from your offense at that point?
I just felt like we were in panic mode. We were allowing ourselves to get trapped, and when we did get trapped, instead of us turning and looking, we were just throwing skip passes, but we had a layup. And there were a few times where we did do that, but it was open every time. I just felt like we allowed that pressure, which was, they were just trapping, so someone's going to be open. A lot of times we allowed ourselves to get trapped instead of penetrating or making easy passes or, like I said, throwing the ball inside, because Shantae was open every single time against the pressure. I just felt like we played scared down the stretch. We played like we didn't want to win. Well, not that we didn't want to win, but we played like we were afraid to win the game, like afraid to go out there and really compete. And we talked about, we don't have postseason. Like, there's no, after this, we don't have any more games, so it's win or go home. And I just felt like at that point we were hoping that they made mistakes instead of going out like they did and trying to win the basketball game.
Coach, obviously a slow start to the season, but you had a pretty significant ending in your last 12 games. What started to click for your team as the season progressed?
We made shots, and today we didn't. Honestly, our season, when we're playing well, it's because we're making shots. In that first quarter, we were making shots. They weren't. And then as soon as we stop making shots, our defense starts to lax, and we start to worry about missing shots instead of really focusing in and not allowing them to score. And that's just been who we are. We feed off of making shots instead of feeding off of getting stops.
Coach, you alluded to it a little bit earlier, but is the hard part the fact that you don't have another game now to come and build?
The hard part is you would, at this point, you would do something different. And the fact that we lost this game, and we've had games like this throughout the season. So being up as much as we were up and now allowing turnovers or just not being aggressive, not making sure we got stops, that's the disappointing part of it all. Sure. We had the game in control, and we allowed ourselves to just lax and not be aggressive and be on the defense most of the time. And again, we had opportunities where I felt like even against their pressure, once we broke it, it's like we pulled the ball back out to just run offense instead of just being aggressive. We tried to, it's, again, you just don't know what's going on in a kid's head at that moment, and it just stinks that this is the way that we had to end our season.
Shantae, you've seen some of your performances like in this game and some late in the season. Do you see things that you can build on for next year?
Just pretty much doing anything to help my team win. Like over the course of the season, I just learned my role and how to help. So just pretty much anything to help the team win.
Any other questions? Thank you.